To jest Geralt z Rivii. Co ty piszesz, co to za laseczka na ekranie?
Spartiatix!
Dobra, widzowie, zobaczmy. 13 minut. Niestety nie ma polskiej wersji językowej. Tak przynajmniej mi się wydaje. 13 minut z nowego DLC. 13 minut z DLC. To dużo dali. Zobaczmy.
Beginning of Belletin. Well, end of Belletin, but the day
He's
after.
at the house feeding his hangover. Got an
As you can
invite,
see, the
too.
party was wild.
Oho.
Is Geralt
It even had
hangover?
an effect on Geralt.
Zobacz, jak to wygląda w ogóle. Widzisz to? Widzisz tą grę? Według ciebie ta gra ma ponad 10 lat? Człowieku, co tu się w dupę dzieje? Przecież RDR 2 przy tym to jest AI slop. GTA 6 przy tym to jest w dupę jakieś z mango pas na brzuch. Wiesz, o co mi chodzi? Człowieku.
Geralt.
Can he get hangover?
I mean,
No,
he can
not
get
really.
tired.
He can be tired,
Yeah.
but in classic form, you lose a friend on a big night out.
That's exactly
It's
the
usually
deal.
everyone else who gets a hangover.
Kurde, jak ta gra
But
wygląda.
yeah, we just talked about how important Belletin is, but can we actually go back to like the very basics? So
Delikatny
when
zoom
and
na
where
stópki.
the story takes place, without like big spoilers.
Without big spoilers. Let's start with where. So,
I can talk about the where, exactly.
okay.
Let's go.
So it's the whole thing plays out in Letten, which is the birthplace of Dandelion. It's in
Letten.
the north, somewhere halfway between COVID and
To jest jaskier, tylko że po angielsku nie wiedzą, co to jest w dupę jaskier i go tak nazywają, debilaki.
Cadeven for all you map nerds out there. If you go to the Gulf of Praxida and take the Buina River to the east and take a right on the Nimnar River, on the other southern shore of the Nimnar, you will find this lovely place that you get to have a
Sounds
beautiful
kinda
glimpse
familiar.
about. But it's in the
No,
north if you
ciekawe.
want the shore, it's the LDR version.
So I guess we can now go to when.
So, the events of third expansion unravel after Geralt hoped to retire at Corvo Bianco, but then yet another adventure unveils.
Miała być
So this is
emeryturka.
what I would share for now. And then, of course, he has
Really great vision elements that we want to cater to, but also enable the player's side of exploration, not just the story side of
Pieska
exploration. So we're an
głaszczą!
open world RPG, and we are going to stay true to that.
Geralt nauczył się głaskać psy. Nie pamiętam, żeby to było. To jest goty. Znowu, ta gra wygrywa goty z remasterem i DLC. 2 razy goty będzie.
In Songs of the Past as well, and we want
Pisali
to
na
make
chyba.
sure that you are
Ta gra
enabled
wygląda
to
pięknie.
explore, but guided gently towards elements of the story, so you can still experience it as we sort of intend, but in your own pace, if you understand what I'm saying. So it's directed, but gently, and lets you engage in open world activities.
Niesamowite jest, jak to
while,
wygląda.
you're
Nie, to jest popieprzone, jak ta gra wygląda. Przecież w dupę... O co tu chodzi? Przecież dzisiaj jakby ta gra wyszła, nikt by nawet nie pomyślał, że to ma ponad 10 lat. Bo to nawet tak nie wygląda. Wiem, że zaraz ktoś powie, że dlatego, że to remaster, ale już next genem ta gra wygląda popieprzenie dobrze. A tutaj to już, ja już nie wiem, co się tu dzieje. Nie mam pojęcia, co się dzieje. Ta gra się nigdy nie zestarzeje. Oni za 10 lat kolejny remaster wydadzą. Tak o. I też będzie za darmo.
already invested in a greater
Waldeksa
storyline.
godzinkę jakoś,
unfold.
półtorej.
So it's still up to you,
Coś takiego.
but nicely framed. And
będziesz
this I
grał?
think was one of the biggest challenges still.
Zagramy
This was
tak
the
to.
biggest challenge in the original game as well.
And I guess on that, Peter, what as players are sort of taking in the world and the architecture and all the work that the team has
No nie
done.
wiem, szczerze dla mnie to wygląda lepiej niż Dawn Walker i pewnie jakby dać full w dupę zooma na jakieś drzewo, to w Dawn Walkerze Kora wygląda lepiej, na Unrealu w dupę 5, 8K teksturze, ale w ogóle po kogo to obchodzi? Co ty w dupę jesteś? Sherlock Holmes, żeby biegać z lupą po drzewach? Patrz jak to wygląda tak, o, spójrz, pejzaż, ładnie, pięknie, w dupę, wszystko dobrze działa. Nie jakiś zapieprzony Unreal, na który niestety CD Projekt też przychodzi, no ale no luj, no. Przecież mi szkoda, ja lubię ten ich silnik, szkoda, że przychodzą.
Done. What's something that you really
Spójrz,
hope
popatrz,
that
zobacz.
they'll get to see and immerse themselves in, and maybe like the finer details?
Well, there's going to be a lot of beautiful stuff and a lot of characteristics that you can experience, and they are going to be obvious. But I would like the players to pay attention to the second layer
No,
of this
mamon,
whole
to
world, which
prawda.
is the level design intention. I'm speaking towards my department, of course, because there's a lot of goodwill and greatly skilled intention behind every single pebble, every single asset placed
No wysłał
to
mamon, Nick.
basically enable what we mentioned earlier, this kind of gentle guidance to make sure that you see everything that we intended you to see, but still let you roam free in the most convenient and accessible manner. So whenever you're on any path, you're enjoying any interior castle, dungeon, anything that you engage with, if you have a moment to appreciate all the good
Witam,
intent,
Quinto,
the
witam.
framing, the composition, the colors, the lighting, do yourself a favor and pay attention to that, because there's a lot of professional skill and effort that went into every square centimeter of this new world.
Yeah, I think while we traverse through Latin, could you tell us more about the inspiration? Because I already seen comments that it looks like Italy, it looks different than what we're used to. So maybe a few words about creation of Latin.
Right. So we still wanted to keep this character of Latin that is very close to our fond childhood memories of holidays spent at grandma and grandpa in the countryside. So when exploring Latin, when entering Latin, you should feel that
Fajnie wygląda ta
from the get-go,
kraina.
right? This is a very calm land, an idyllic land, a rich one, but also mornings are fresh, right? You can see the crisp light
Agata.
traveling on all
Nie
the
wiem, co to.
vegetation and like shining on you through the leaves, and you can actually feel it that it's peaceful. It's there. So it's familiar for the Polish countryside, I would say, but also, as we can see right
Czyli
now,
to ma być
we
taka
also took some
prawdziwa polska
inspirations
wieś.
from British.
Ty, ale właśnie, zobacz, gadają, że im się to też w Wielkiej Brytanii. Ty, no, to coś takiego jest. Kurna. I oglądamy. Dzięki Napilek za 47 lat.
British Isles when it comes to architecture, and it has a further connection to the lore, to the story of this place, because Dandelion, whose family is the owner of the land, they are counts, right? So as we were
Czyli rodzina Jaskra, to jest ziemia,
Grzegorz
czy tam
Floryda cię
wieś
wita.
rodziny
5
Jaskra,
złotych.
tak?
Słyszałem, że jesteś tutejszym tubylcem, który z dnia na dzień się nie starzeje, a jednak przeżywa 100 lat w jeden dzień. Więc mam do ciebie jedno pytanie. Jak to jest być starożytnym Grekiem wychowania rzymskiego, który żyje?
Dzięki. To nie ma tak, że dobrze albo że niedobrze. Po prostu się jest, nie?
looking for something connected with the title. And it has many rooms and corridors, so there is a lot of explore. And
Co
many
oglądam
secrets.
nowe DLC do
Okay,
Wiedźmaka.
so far we showed you a little bit of the sunny Latin, but it also
Leten, a
has
to
woods,
tłumaczy
Oh, yes.
te napisy do
dark
dupy są.
woods.
Lots of it, yes.
Lots of dark
Link
woods.
daj. Proszę.
Can we maybe talk about how you guys
Spoko,
approach
Agata, możemy
designing
zerknąć. Możemy
this
zerknąć.
contrast between super
Chociaż nie wiem,
sunny
czy kliker.
village, and then
Jak to wygląda po pieprzenie z tym księżycem? Ja pierdzielę. Ta
can we
noc w
maybe
ogóle, ja pierdzielę w dupę, jak noc w ogóle wygląda w tym remasterze. Wiadomo, że to jest nowa kraina, trochę coś innego. Ale Boże, w dupę, co się dzieje? Że oni z tego Wiedźmina to już wycisnęli co się da chyba, robiąc ten remaster i z tego silnika. O co tu chodzi?
talk about how you guys approach designing this contrast between super sunny village
Tak jak
and then
cyberpunkiem, no.
dark forest
No.
with like fog and
Ale no zobacz jak to wygląda. Ja pierdzielę w dupę.
that mystery around.
Yeah, this was an exceptionally tricky thing to pull off, and I bet it's the
Co to?
trickiest part of every game that
Lila.
tries to illustrate values through contrast, is how to blend like one extreme into the other extreme. But with clever
Tutaj.
framing, composition, and distancing and density and encounters
Rodzina
and
Jaskra
community design
jakaś,
and
no.
every single component, it's manageable. But you have to be mindful, of course, how you conduct the journey there, how you can end up from one place to another, like accidentally, and make sure that the things do not happen like that unless you intend them to happen like that. So it is kind of tricky, but it requires a lot of testing and a lot of iteration, of course, and subtle play with colors and, of course, expectations, how you set up a certain mood with shapes that bleed out into the surrounding environment a little bit sooner, just to like set the mind in that kind of mood earlier with the smooth transition. So everything happens in good rhythm and pacing.
Gębę ma plastelinową ona, no dziwną ma.
As a side note, that we want to dive into
Oho.
to start with. One of them is Thornbloom.
Yes.
Ale te światło,
So as you can see, while we
jakie
have
światło
some
jest
gameplay going,
dopieprzone.
we're gonna have a run-in.
Well, this is not actually.
No i
I
mi
mean,
pewnie
this is
będą
obviously
jakieś przygotowania.
a variation of an archispore, right? But as you can see during his attacks, this is not your regular archispore.
different.
Yeah, this is something that has been born in the Garden of Thorns, so you know it has to be special. And as you can see, there are like
Ale-
new attack patterns, new VFXs. This is, by the way, you can already see the remaster improvements in VFXs, which are mind-blowing in my opinion. And yeah, so we have. Let's go back to the monsters.
Yes.
But
Uh-huh.
I mean, I could actually add a little bit to that.
Go.
Yeah, basically, our reference for this one was based
Different
on
combats. So I would say depending on what your playstyle is, but our main
Ciekawe jak ta walka
main
będzie w
focus
odczuciu.
in creating a boss fight is to always create a challenge for you. So yeah.
We have a little glimpse of Swarmions again.
Łańcuch.
Getting beheaded, that's my favorite finisher right there.
More Swarmions. I don't think I'm gonna like those guys.
Yeah, a little
Yeah.
freaky.
Well, you know, it is in the name, Swarmions, they swarm you, right? So there's gonna be
Ale
a
to
lot of
światło jest dopieprzone. Trochę jak w trailerach starych, pamiętam. Na jakimś E3 czy coś. Tam było takie zarąbiste światło. I jak to wygląda zarąbiście, Boże. Ty no, ciekawe w dupa. No mega dobrze wygląda ten Wiedźmak.
Going too in depth, got something that you're just cannot wait for people to experience?
I mean, Kuba stole my answer. Like,
No, I didn't steal it.
Have
It's
in
just
these beautiful patterns that are sort of
Uh-huh.
so intricately stitched into the clothing.
well, Len will probably say more about this in a
To
second.
ta
but,
rodzina
you know,
Jaskra chyba.
it's not only about the outfits, it's also about the architecture, about the foliage that you see in Latin. We were trying to create a land that is
Za darmo. Nie,
very
to będzie
consistent
płatne. To jest
in
nowe
how it
DLC.
looks and how it feels, but also a very distinctive part.
Dla ciebie wygląda to tragicznie. Ale bym ci... Człowieku, nie! Perma ci daję. Nie, dobra, daję ci perma. Wypieprzasz stąd. Obraziłeś Wiedźmina, szmato. Perma masz! Dość tego. Dobra, od razu mi lepiej, jak zbanowałem hejtera Wiedźmina. Możemy oglądać dalej. Tragicznie wygląda remaster dla chłopa. Nie, no dobra. Jak to wygląda tragicznie dla ciebie? Poważnie się teraz zapytam. Jak to wygląda tragicznie? Dobra, szczerze. Napiszcie w dupę. To wygląda tragicznie? To wygląda tragicznie?
EDZIOWIERTARA1.
Pieprze!
5 złotych. Sparta odbanuj Wica, bo mówiliśmy o dziwnym nalocie szarości na tekturach, a nie o całej grze. X.
Posłuchaj. Tak, jak zwykle, wyrwane z kontekstu. Jeszcze powiedz w dupę, że malarz chciał dobrze dla polskich dzieci, ale panie Januszu, proszę tego nie mówić. Pieprzyć! Kłamstwo jak luj! Dość tego. No, co w ogóle... Co się dzieje w dupę? Spanowałem Wiza tak o, w sensie tego, nie chciałem mu dać perma. Tylko tak dla poddymki, ale teraz widzę, że są jakieś tłumaczenia. Czyli coś w tym jest, że mu dobrze dałem bana. Coś w tym jest, że mu dałem dobrze bana.
Got something that you're just cannot wait for people to experience?
I mean, Kuba stole my answer. Like,
Ej, możesz mu
No,
cofnąć
I-
bana.
Steal it.
Have
It's
and
just
these beautiful patterns that are sort of so intricately stitched into the clothing.
Możliwe,
Well,
Quinta,
Len
no.
will probably say more about this in a second, but you know,
Rest of the clan.
it's not only about the outfits, it's also about the architecture, about the foliage that you see in Latin. We were trying to create a land that is very consistent in how it looks and how it feels, but also a very distinctive part of the world, that you can feel that this is a very distinctive part of the world. And things that you see on their clothing are, when you play the game, you will see that those are deeply connected to their traditions and to their folklore in this particular area. But yeah, I won't take more of your time. Len, you have more to say about the
strój, bo oni
patterns and all
świętowali.
the hard work that went into designing this clothes.
To jest jakaś rodzina jaska.
yeah, so basically with regards to patterns and how we generally like approach like embroideries or even decorative things that you find in furniture and just like the whole world creation. If you look back to several different cultures, they usually reference stuff that they see, whether it's in nature, whether it's in their trade, and reflect it into their art. So when it comes to Latin, they are pretty much famous for hops, for dragon, for horses, and all of these are pretty much brought back into the artistry that you will find in pretty much furniture, clothes, and it keeps the world consistent this way.
Yeah, even if you notice, like her chair, there are hops cones behind her. You know.
Wow.
So many details.
Yeah.
So many cool details. How did you actually ensure that the characters and the whole world feels really authentic to the entire Witcher universe? Because we had Velen before, we had Tucson, and now we're in Latin, right? Completely different, new word to everyone. So how are you guys making sure it all feels connected and right?
Well, it's obviously hard. Like it's obviously the effect of hard work of many people in many departments. All of those different sides, like Len said, that the embroidery is taken strictly from the fact from the things that they do in the valley. But when we were designing this at the very beginning, we asked ourselves the questions: okay, so how many people
Będzie
actually
romans
live
z
in
babką, tą starą?
in this valley? So how many villages we have? How many villagers in the village? How big is the brewery? How many horses do they breed? Like how many sheep you need to breed to keep everybody fed and still have sheep to sell? And from those very mundane, everyday questions came the picture that you see on the screen, because the devil is in the details, right? And if you put your mind and eye to such detail and your attention to it, the longer you work on it, the more details appear in your,
Ktoś gadał,
in your
że z
art
chłopem
and in
się
your
walić
quests, in your
można?
dialogues and, you know, in the characters themselves. So, yeah.
Co?
Yeah, absolutely. It's quite amazing. It's like economics being thought into this
Yes.
world to output art.
Yeah. I mean, you know,
A z
this is
Zoltanem,
the
no to
MO
dobro.
that CD Projekt always had.
No i luj, nie dowiemy się więcej. Ty, no ciekawe. Fajnie wygląda. Luj, tam coś popieprzyli se w tle. Ty, ile się napracowali. No i fajnie, no. Tutaj jest chyba więcej. Nie, to jest to samo chyba. To jest to samo, co teraz oglądaliśmy. No ciekawie to wygląda bardzo.
Husaria! Mamy znowu szansę przyjąć Europę! Husaria! Brrr! Husaria! Mamy szansę! Obudźcie się, Polacy! Husaria!